Okay. Whoops. That ain't right. I changed this shit too. Alright, kids, Happy New Year! Yay! Welcome to You Don't Have Anything to Load. What the hell does that mean? Welcome to the year 2020. Right? That's weird. 2020. Anyway, Happy New Year. Welcome to the original. Do not accept impersonators, imposters. Make no mistake. This is the original Red Pill Show. Started 10 years ago, and all the other fake posers can go fuck themselves. Now, Tim, you're going to work on your swearing. Okay, welcome to another exciting episode of the original Red Pill Show. Today is January 1st, 2020. This show is for entertainment, predictions, trend forecasting, fuck whatever. And entertainment purposes only. Please use it at your own risk. The show is copyrighted by moi. No part of it can be reused, rebroadcasted in any way, shape, or form without my written consent, or you can just ask. I really don't give a shit. Finally, the show is opinionated. Yes, the host, especially callers, which I'm being told by Melissa, my, what do we call you? We got to title everybody. You're my transgender, whatever. She's not. She's my, moderator? I don't know. What do you call that? I think co-host here, she's going to call in here when I ask her to. Just remember, all her opinions are wrong when it comes to politics. Okay. This show's opinionated. The hosts, especially callers, guests, co-hosts, whoever, people that are dirty in the chat room, are and will be opinionated. That's why we do this, especially in 2020. And if you don't get off your fucking ass or get your head out of your ass, it really don't. Here's inspiration, motivation time. How long are you going to sit there and bitch and put stupid shit on Facebook? Everybody sucks, and if they don't agree with you, you unfriend them, and they just don't get it, and they're idiots. And this goes for liberal people, Democrats, ultra-conservatives, Republicans, Trump supporters, Trump haters, people that hate black people that hate white people, fucking whatever. When are you going to, well, stop doing that shit, but when are you going to say, you know what, I'm going to do a podcast, radio show. That's what I did. After 2008, after the meltdown, all the people got bailed out and started over while us peasants paid the price. And the biggest transfer of wealth happened to the people that caused this whole fucking thing. And it's still getting worse. Oh, now things are really bad because we didn't change anything. So now we're going to go to negative interest rates. Get ready for 2020. It is going to be one hell of a year, and I am going to be as positive as I can. Problem is, 2020, you had a choice. You could pick the lady or the tiger. Regardless of choices, in my opinion, you're going to have two choices. The tiger or the tiger. So, no matter what happens, it's going to be a tiger. So, get ready to be eaten alive. Going to be interesting, but hopefully you can get yourself mentally prepared, spiritually strong, and get ready for the storm because it's going to be something. Anyway, people that are naughty in the chat room, callers 815-290-0912. People that are naughty in the chat room are and always will be opinionated, thank God. And I always can't be right, so come on, say something. Call in. Start a fucking podcast, will you? Go on to Freedom Revolution Network and sign up. Why not? You got nothing to lose. I mean, why not? If you really believe in what you're doing, regardless of your position, do it. Why the fuck not? Why not? Make a difference. Do something. In 2020, find out how right or wrong you really are. Trust me, You will find out. People that are not in the chat room will be opinionated under no circumstances whatsoever. Should opinions ever, never, ever be taken as advice. If you are seeking professional advice, don't look here. Go somewhere else. Go to mainstream media. They got plenty of shit to tell you. Or fake news, whatever. Mine's off, man. It's off. I ain't watching the shit anymore. I will stream OAN, and that's about it, and find shit on YouTube. But I'm done. I'm done being a monkey. Do I have a monkey? Being programmed watching this crap. I'm not doing it no more. And it's going to get really, really bad. Protesters in Iran? Are you serious? Protesters that attacked the U.S. Embassy? Protesters? So I should, which I would never do, go protest in parentheses the Iran, the U.S. Embassy in Iran is being protested right now. So I'll go protest the embassy here in the United States from Iran and see how that turns out. Whatever. Under no circumstances whatsoever should opinions ever be taken as advice. If you are seeking professional advice, strongly encourage you to hire a license if required person in his or her field, little Tommy. Hey, man. No. That's his name. How is it going? Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year 2020. The year everybody is either excited for or they're cringing. And regardless, we get into this. I'm going to get into predictions. I'm going to get into some things. And of course, I will always give where credit is due. But most of what I'm hearing from people that know what they're talking about is aligning with my views. Some I'm contrarian on. I don't agree with everybody, and I don't expect everybody to agree with me. That's not what it's about. It's about listening to all sides and quote-unquote reliable sources, whatever the hell that means, and figure it out on your own. But one thing I do know, and I can't believe 2020 is here already. Crazy. Really? That means all the checks I write are going to be fucking wrong. And I'm going to say 2019 in this show. I know I will. And I'm going to say, because it's not in the teens anymore. You know, like 13, 14, 15, 16. Whatever, 19, but now it's 20. I don't know, maybe that'll help me remember it better, because it doesn't start with an N, it starts with a T. I don't know, but if I misspeak, which I always will, and I always do, please accept my deepest apologies now.
But Tim, you said it was 2019. Bleh.
Excuse the fuck out of me, okay? I'm 55 years old. Some parts aren't working. The ones I need are. But the brain may be starting to go. And actually, I didn't even go out last night. Depending on your opinion on this. I didn't even go out last night. I've never been a New Year's Eve fan. And, participator, and was in bed before midnight. So how do you like that shit? And some of my friends were too that are admitting it on Facebook, but I just don't really fucking care. I have my hours and 10,000 hours of being an expert at partying, especially on New Year's Eve. So I choose to abstain. Especially now with roadblocks, checkpoints. Yeah, come over here. Let me see you've been drinking, comrade. Oh, no, you not. We do not have probable cause. I guess you have suspicion, or habeas corpus is not really part of it either. But well, who am I? So we just need to pull over every politician when we think they're doing something. See how that works out. These laws and everything that's happening is getting too one-sided. It's getting too one-sided. Whatever laws are passed by the government should be applied to them. Everybody. So if your ass is coming out of the airport, and I'll give a flying fuck how many motorcade people you got, CIA protection, this and that, your ass is getting pulled over. Of course, he wouldn't be drinking, or she was a female president. But regardless, we still have to search your vehicle, see if you have any marijuana in there or any drugs, right? Because you never really know. And you got to go through the airport through all that security crap. Have fun with that one. And you have to have a star on your license, whatever. Okay. So last night, instead of going out, and friends tried calling me a few times, and I just said, I'm really just not in the mood. I'm really not. The fun is gone. It's like, I'd just rather lay here, watch TV, read a book, whatever happens. And that's what I did, and I got no problem with it. I'm actually really toying with the idea of severely minimizing or abstaining from alcohol. Because it's really kind of weird, because I did that quite a while ago, and for 5 years. And I met more people, and quite honestly had more fun, to a point, doing that than actually drinking. And don't get me wrong, I've had fun drinking. I've had some times I'll never forget. But I've also had plenty of fun times without it. So, I don't know. I may do that because, God, I barely drink as it is. I got a case of Corona I got for my birthday from friends from last March, and I still have it. I'm not full, but I still have it. So I don't know, but it's like, why not? Why not? It's not going to hurt anything. So I don't, we'll see. We'll see. It just sometimes it's nice to have a glass of wine or a Corona or whatever, but I definitely don't drink to the point where I feel like shit. Like I'm sure a lot of people are. It's like, what's he talking about, man? My head hurts. Shut the fuck up. Here, do you like this? How's this for your headache? Okay. So, I have been watching, especially last night, which I was kind of shocked people were even working. And, because in my industry, for the past 2 weeks, the world just fucking stops. I'm still waiting for a phone call from a manufacturer for some information. But no, the world stops because it's Christmas. Uh-oh. I said Christmas. Christmas. Baby Jesus' birthday. Yeah. And New Year's. So that just fucks everything up in my industry because people disappear. So sorry, but the world stops until, hell, I wouldn't even say tomorrow, Friday. They'll extend it as long as they can. So Monday, the world will become available on Monday. So there you go. So I'm going to talk about predictions. I saw people talking about it. I really focus, believe it or not necessarily on political or geopolitical or foreign policy crap is my first priority. What I do is I focus on monetary money situations and what's going on. Because in my opinion, Just put it this way, put it in perspective. Somebody gets in a fight or whatever. It's like, whatever. Your life goes on. If the money system fails on a global scale, we're all fucked. It's just we're all fucked. Even if little skirmishes or wars happen, it's like, whatever. I still get up. I have a job. I can go buy stuff. There's not going to be another melt up or melt down or the Cotillon. What did she call that? A Cotillon effect? Stacy on Max Kaiser. We're pretty much just the transfer of wealth has gone from the peasants to the oligarchs, and wages have not kept up with the cost of living and things of that nature. I mean, hell, just look at a fucking house out here. At least $400,000 just for a house, not nothing huge, not anything on a lot of acres, just your regular cookie cutter house. $400,000 minimum. And I'm making, I don't know. Let me do it in my head. 12. I don't know, $55,000. How in the fuck can I buy a house that costs $400,000? Not to mention to live and everything else on $50-something thousand, which 30 years ago was good money. And I'm making that scale. And I know houses for the average homeowner were not $400,000. Not in fucking Streamwood. Not really anywhere where I lived, unless you went to South Barrington or, of course, the higher income people, where, whatever, $500 million homes. But yeah, I can't make it, man. I don't know about you. It is what it is. But there's a lot of reasons for why that's going on. And by predictions by Gerald Celente, Max Kaiser, and a bunch of other people, the Yellow Vest movement's going to go global because people had enough of this shit. And rightfully so. But I'm not saying violence is the answer. It's like, just let's take our fucking country back, man. I mean, really? The Constitution, what's that? When they were saying it's the economy, stupid? Well, it's the Constitution, stupid. So we need to get back to that and quit fucking with it. So, but whatever. What do I know? What do you know? What do you think? I don't know. I'm going to try to kill 2 hours here. Is everything working? Man, my hair's sticking up. Isn't that lovely? It's growing. It's growing to the point where I need to cut it again. But I don't want to. I want to let it grow. But then I get the porcupine syndrome thing. So I guess I have to apologize for my hair. But whatever. Not my fault. What am I going to do? I'll slick it back. I don't want to have anything to load for now. What does that mean, Melissa? All right, so anyway, I can get into this stuff by myself, but I think I'm going to bring on Melissa if she wants to call in. I invited her on, and she's like, well, yeah, but we don't agree in politics. I said, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Sure, there's a lot of things. I hate carrots. I hate peas, too. Do you like them? Ugh. I mean, who cares? It's not. Listen, okay. This show, let's get into this shit. All right. This show is to make you think from a different perspective. That's it. What perspective that is your choice to find. To obtain serenity, it's going to sound goofy, serenity, peace, happiness, blaze your own trail, don't be a follower, figure it out, figure out your own sources, things of that nature, but without sticking to tribalism.
Well, I'm just going to watch CNN because that's me.
No, that's because you're probably a Democrat, and that's all you want to fucking listen to back up your opinions and beliefs and what those idiots are saying. Now, if you're a Republican in Fox News, it's the same shit. Your tribalism and stupidity is listening to people that are squawking on Fox News. It's the same shit. But if you decide to do that, that's fine. You're never going to find out what's really going on. So that is the point. You got voicemail. What? Did I give you the right number? I gave you the wrong fucking phone number. Hang on a second. Because I gave you the wrong phone number. Idiot. Hang on a minute. Da, 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 da. What? Yeah, I gave you the wrong phone number, Melissa. But hang on a second. I'm going to play a song for a couple reasons. One, mostly, I have laundry in the laundry room. People kind of lose their shit if they can't use a washer dryer that is taken. So, yeah, no, I gave you the wrong phone number. So, let me play a song. I'll come right back, and I'll bring Melissa in if I can give her the right fucking phone number. Dumbass. And then, let me see here. What should I play? What can I play? I can play whatever the fuck I want to play. Let's see. I don't know. Let's play Edge of Paradise. I'm going to come see them. Are you going to play right away? Of course you are. All right, I'm going to play Edge of Paradise. Back that up a little bit. And go grab my laundry and then come back. And then I'll bring Melissa on. And we can talk about whatever. And then if other people want to call and my phone's blown up, then I'll have to activate Skype. That's all technical shit, though. And it should work. I think I've done that before. I guess we'll find out. But anyway, this is Edge of Paradise, who has a new album out. I've interviewed Margarita Monet almost 2 fucking years. I think it's over 2 years ago. I got to get her back on. The new album came out, Universe. It's really good. If you like rock metal and a beautiful, beautiful female singing voice. I think when I interviewed her, she said she was an opera and transitioned to rock. You can hear it in her voice. Anyway, listen to this, and I'll be back. Bye. The original Red Pill Show. That was Edge of Paradise. All right, so anyway, they're coming to Denver, I think, in the fall. I will definitely be there. And they owe me a sound check anyway, and I'll play Dave Bates' fucking kick-ass guitar that he's got, if he lets me. But anyway, very cool band. All the talent in the world, and I like them. All right, so what do you mean you got voicemail again? Fuck. I hate this technical shit. What are you talking about? 815-290-0912. Can somebody make a computer that works? Please, and not change the fucking processor and make it a paperweight after you do. Apple. La 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 la. What's this one? Who the hell is this? Wait a minute. Hello? I can't hear now. Hello? I can't hear you. Hello? There we go. Oh.
Now?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yay.
Melissa?
Yes.
What the hell? What's going on, man? You got voicemail and now you got through.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And now my computer's ringing.
Why is your computer ringing?
I don't know.
What the hell?
Oh, I bet I was hearing it ringing because it's delayed.
Yeah, I was going to say you're probably listening to the show. There's that big of a delay?
A little bit. It's about 20 seconds.
Well, that's good for swearing. You can block it out if you want.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, turning down the speaker.
Yeah.
How you doing this morning?
Can get confusing, too. Great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, and I'm glad. Well, I'll talk about anything because that's what I do. And then last night we configured the video for streaming, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's working now, right?
Oh, yes, it's beautiful.
Oh, here. Let me show you something. Can you see this?
Well, I will in about 20 seconds.
All right. Can you see it?
I see your coffee cup.
Here.
Oh, delays are fun. Okay, I see you reaching back for something. Hey, it's your shirt!
Yep.
Yay!
Yes, and it's gorgeous. I love it, and it's very okay. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't put it on yet, but I can tell. Because I just washed it and I just pulled it out of the dryer, and I can tell that it's very high quality. It's a very nice shirt.
Oh yes, yes. Steve does awesome work.
Yes, so. I got it relatively quickly, and it was the holidays, but it didn't take forever. And, it's not like I was waiting for it like a kid from Santa Claus presents or something. But I was excited to get it, and when I got it, I'm like, oh, and I looked at it, and I was just a little concerned with it being blue because of the Red Pill Show, and then they got the blue gradients in it and stuff. But it turned out great.
Yeah.
Turned out great. So...
Yay! I'm so glad you're happy with it.
Yeah, and I might wear it today, or definitely wear. Well, the holidays are fucking me up because I think today is like Saturday.
Oh, I've been messed up the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So, but tomorrow's what? Thursday. So, but anyway, I'll put it on. Definitely by the weekend, if not later today. I don't know. I really want to check it out and see and. Maybe people look at me and go, who is that? What's the Red Pill Show? What's the original Red Pill Show?
Well, that's the whole point of them.
Exactly.
Get people talking.
Exactly. So
So is it snowing over there on the other side of the mountain?
no, the sun's shining. It's beautiful.
Well, guess what? You have snow headed your way.
When? Today?
It's coming down over here.
Yeah, well, people don't understand that, and the news 99% of the time reports the weather from where you're at. And then my family will go, oh my God, you got all this snow, and are you okay? And it's freezing. I go, no, it's sunny, 40 degrees, and it's beautiful. They all think that that's the Denver forecast because that's what they say it is. But it's not. It really isn't. I mean, I don't think people understand what you go west on 70 out of Denver for what 10, 15 miles, and it changes drastically, right?
Oh yeah, and if you come over to the western slope, it's completely different.
Yeah, and how far is that from Denver? A couple hours?
Well, depending on how you drive, 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah.
6 hours in a U-Haul.
Yeah, you told me that. So I was going to come out there, but I just can't. Well, my car broke. I got all kinds of excuses. I got not a brand new bike, but I got a bigger bike now. So I will definitely come out there because I want to see that part of Colorado anyway, because Colorado's so different depending on where you're at in the state. It's crazy.
Oh, it really is. I had never actually been here. I've been through here in my travels, but I had never been here for any length of time, and it is freaking gorgeous out here. Grand Junction's actually in a horseshoe, and it's only open to the south.
Huh. Okay. Well, I got to see it. I got to go to Steamboat. I got to go to Pueblo. I've been far east, Fort Morgan and beyond, and there's really nothing out there but stinky, smelly shit. So I don't want to go that way again. And then north, I mean, I'm 45 minutes from Wyoming, so there's really not much more here for me to see north. So I have to venture west. I've been to what's it, lake something, Red Lake or Red, what the fuck is it called? Red something.
I have no idea.
Red, I'll think of it when I'm not thinking. But I've been out there. But I want to go west, and I want to go southwest, and I want to go south. And I've been to the Springs, but I haven't been south of that. So I'm going to ride that bike a lot this year and check out Colorado for sure. So,
yay.
All right, so let's do a little business here. And thanks for calling in, because it's so much better, I think. I mean, I can do this by myself. I've been doing it by myself for too long. And it's always nice to have somebody to call or talk to or whatever. It's great.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, sit there talking to yourself, you go fucking crazy. So let's just do a little business here, and what your position is. Freedom Revolution Network, what we're about, because now I'm in this family, and that's what I call it. And
yes, we are definitely a family.
Trying to grow, whatever the mission statement is, whatever terms you want to use. And we're looking for talent or undiscovered talent or whatever for people to host their own show, not only audio, but if they choose, and stand me if I'm corrected, video.
Yes.
Which is live in a 20-second delay, so you could basically eat your fucking lunch and then come back, and it'll be in real time. And that's a joke. and then it's archived and available on YouTube if you want to go back. The only suggestion I got saying this is that I really truly believe and still think, and I've been trying to nicely tell Alex Jones this, because I only ever listened to him on podcasting, and show your RSS feed so people can download the podcast. I really think it's I mean, look at Joe Rogan. All right, that's my point right there. He's got the number one podcast in the world.
He doesn't have an RSS feed?
No, he does. That's the point. He does. He makes it very easy for you to find him and download his show, whether it's on iTunes or an RSS feed or subscriber program like I like Beyond Pod for Android, and of course you got iTunes or whatever they call it now for downloading stuff off of iTunes. It's just have an RSS feed or an easy way to download the show onto whatever you're listening to so you can listen to it, because I just think that's something that's not looked at or taken for granted, or people don't want to do it, or whatever the perception is. But for me, I think podcasts are the shit. So,
Well, it is actually very easy to subscribe to get to the RSS feed. After the show name on the URL, you just put /feed. And I will take your advice, and I will make sure that it is actually like physically available on the website.
Yeah, it's just my opinion, and I wanted to talk
I
about
agree
this.
Completely.
Okay, and I just wanted to. Well, you know more about this shit than I do, but I'm looking at it from a fan and a user, and I just want it popping up or saying new episode's been downloaded from the original Red Pill Show or whatever, and then you can say, oh great,
Right.
and then just click play. He's like, because we're getting stupider, and I'm sad to say, but with technology and the internet, it just thinks we're all getting dumber, and nobody wants to work to try to figure something out. So.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And now that I've finally got the video stuff worked out, I'm going to be focusing on some of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, that's great. And the people don't understand, and then this is a good segue for you to go ahead and tell us about what you do, what the network's about, and blah, blah, blah. But people don't understand the hard work. Just for me to do this, and I've been doing it on and off for over 10 years, since 2008. It's like, oh, what's the big deal, Tim? You turn the microphone on and you talk in it. It's like, yeah, I wish it was that fucking easy. Not to mention how to talk, cadence, tone, sound quality. I mean, I've listened to people that are on their phone and they sound like this. Or you can't hear them because they're 50 feet away, or they sound like they're in a tin can. And quite honestly, who wants to listen to that shit? Because I don't. So.
Yep, and that's why we have. I believe Alicia started a wish list on Amazon, so that we can start getting all the hosts some better equipment.
I saw that. Yeah, she's looking to get a mixer or something. I saw. So.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so tell us what it's about. All in this, I don't care where you start chronologically, real time. Because we have to promote this network and what it's about, and people need to know that, and what motivated it, what it's about, what the mission statement is, what the purpose is, blah, 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 and then what people can do to get on here because before you came on, I don't know if you heard me, I'm getting tired of seeing the shit on Facebook, and I'm really going to watch myself, since now I'm not going to be using Facebook Live, and I'm going to be using the software that we set up last night for video purposes, because that's the only reason why I use Facebook. It was so easy to use.
Well, yeah.
And go from there. But what we're about, how they can do it. But I'm getting tired of people posting shit on Facebook, and it's going to get really, really bad. Really bad.
Oh, it is.
Because now...
this year's going to be horrible for anything politically oriented, or people are going to get nasty.
Right, and
I don't need that negativity.
No, and it's going to be name calling and like, what's wrong with you? The president's a racist, and well, yeah, look what Obama did. I'm so sick of that shit. I really am. Okay, because there's never been a perfect president, except maybe even Kennedy, and I'm too young to remember him, or even, I mean, hell, he was killed before I was born.
Oh, I'm sure he had his issues too.
Sure he did.
know?
Well, yeah, he was fucking around on his wife, number one.
Well,
but
there you go.
yeah, I mean, like I said, nobody's perfect. But I don't want to see family and friends getting torn apart for some people that are sitting in Washington, D.C. that are playing us against each other, who really don't give a flying fuck about us unless we pay our taxes and want your vote. I mean, that's it. That's really what it's all about. So...
Oh, totally.
We got to go deeper into it without getting too far into the crazy zone, and the conspiracy theories and this and that. because there's different stages for that. And I'm going to warn people. All right. When I first got into this, you start finding this stuff out. And first of all, you're in denial. You go, no, that you can't do that. They wouldn't do that, whoever they are. And then you start finding out that, yeah, well, they are whoever they are, and they're doing this and they're doing that. Then you get into the anger stage and you get all fucking pissed off. And then you look further into stuff and this and that. And then you get into the acceptance part of it. And then you either decide, well, am I going to continue to learn about this and what's really going on? Or am I just going to go, it's like the red pill, blue pill thing. You swallow the red pill, you see all this shit, and you're in the matrix, or you're out of the matrix. And then you go, you know what? I want to take the blue pill again and go back into the matrix because everything was fine before I started learning all this stuff that's just doing nothing more than alienating me from people and fucking pissing me off. So I'm going to warn people, but 10 years ago, I got into this stuff. And other people at the other network that I'm not going to name that we're in. And I'm not going to say we blazed a trail or we're the tip of the spear. I mean, I'll give credit to Alex Jones and other people like that have done that. But the stuff that we were talking about and what we were doing and saying is commonplace now. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And more people are waking up to what's going on. And I think that's pretty much the purpose of Freedom Revolution Network. I don't know. I mean, that's for you to say. But
yeah, it totally is.
But don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind and your sanity, because you will, and you will lose your friends and your family, and you'll be an outcast, and then you're gonna make sacrifices, which you shouldn't have to, but you're gonna make sacrifices that you probably may or may not regret. But I think people have woken up to the point now that see some weird things are going on and they're open-minded to it. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to find a home to do that and share that by starting your own show.
Or even if you don't start your own show, do a column on our news section or join our private social media,
right,
where you can actually talk without bots tagging everything and pulling your posts, and that's so aggravating.
Right. So go ahead and share what it's about, what people can do. And I know we got a chat room, we got all that kind of stuff. That's how I got into the position I'm in, because I was at the network I was in years ago. I was a listener and I got in the chat room. And by the way, I don't mind the coconut noise. I'm just being an asshole. I'm being sarcastic. I'm just like, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I've been wanting to replace that chat anyway.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
And we do have a custom chat being built for us right now.
Perfect.
So
okay.
Hopefully we'll have that by the end of the month.
But the chat rooms are really cool because they're like their own entity, and it gets to the point where whoever's talking in the chat room, they start talking about their own thing, and it becomes its own entity, and they're not even talking about what the host is talking about, which I think is kind of funny and cool because it takes on its own entity or its own program, I would say. But that was when it got really big. I mean, there were so many people, and they're talking about whatever. But that's how I got into this, and then, of course, me being sarcastic and smartass and my comments and making people laugh, then I was approached by the owner of the network to, hey, do you want to do a show? And I'm like, I never really thought about it, but why not?
Here we go.
So there you go. Yep.
New adventures. But yeah, so I am the co-owner of the network with Alicia Hardiman. And so we are female owned, which is a rarity in this industry. And our mission is to bring everybody together, because no matter what side of the political line you're on, whether you're right or left or center or wherever, we all have things that we agree on. There's always topics that cross the aisle, and we need to start having those conversations in a real way, not biting each other on social media and calling names and getting all aggressive, being keyboard warriors. so that, that's ultimately our mission, is just to bring everybody together and start really talking about these issues, and as a U.S. community, fighting back against all these politicians that are getting paid off. So that's pretty much the mission, is just bringing everybody together in a place where we're not being monitored, we're not being censored. Like I said, there's no bots. YouTube is notorious for cutting people off, or their videos going bad when they're talking about really good stuff.
You mean like disappearing or being censored?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And so that's one of the main purposes of Freedom Revolution, is to get past that and be able to actually have a voice, because we don't anymore. We are quickly losing our voice as a nation.
Well, it's not number one listed First Amendment for no reason, So
Right.
I think it's the most powerful nonviolent right that we have as American citizens. Even more powerful than the Second Amendment, which I don't want to get into. But it's like, no, you should be able to voice your opinions and grievances against your government without any retaliatory action or punishment. Because if they start doing that, then unfortunately we're going to have to fall on our Second Amendment. So, and hopefully, God forbid, that never happens. But yeah, our First Amendment has to be left alone. I don't care what community guidelines. I don't care about monetization. I don't care about how cute you want to get that, what your agenda is, what side you're on. All I'm looking for is the truth, and to have people think out of the box or a different perspective, to wake up, because it's so hard for them to, they go to work, they have their kids, they live happily ever after. They haven't, by the grace of God or whatever, or just luck, that they haven't ran into anything that has shaken the world and turned it upside down, to make them realize what the hell's going on.
Yeah, what's wrong with this society?
Right, and the meltdown did it for me, because I'm like, wait a minute. All these assholes, all I did was go buy a house because that's what I was told to do, and I was making too much money and blah, blah, blah. So I bought a second home in Vegas and did some homework, but I was very new to it and a rookie. And when you do homework, you're subconsciously looking for things to reinforce what you think. You don't look at the good and the bad. I mean, I'm just being honest. I look at both sides now.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. So I'm looking like for reasons to do what I'm going to do. And I did it. And I bought a house at the very top of the housing boom in Vegas. And within a year, I lost my ass, and it went from $300,000. And I'm not, I'll say good things and positive things and bad, negative things. It's just the truth. I bought a house at $300,000 that within 2 years went down to $99,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what the hell's going to. And then, and I'm not going to mention the banks, because I don't like banks, but you know what? Here's a karmic lesson I always say. When you try to bring justice to yourself, then you're getting in the way of karmic justice. So I won't mention the bank. But what I will mention is, well, Mr. Parsons, if you get behind in 3 payments, and this, I'm not the only one that they did this to. If you get behind in 3 payments on your mortgage, then we'll help you. Oh, okay. Well, needless to say, I'm a business owner at the time. And when I'm doing business with banks that I'm borrowing money and stuff, they do a hard inquiry every year into my credit. Well, I knew that was going to hurt my credit. I didn't think it would destroy it. And it did. And then when 3 months came by, I'm like, okay, I'm 3 months behind. My credit's, whatever. Okay, what are you going to do for me? And they said, we can't help you. So.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not the only one. Loan modifications and, just do this and do that. And then they reneged on their end of the deal. And of course, if you don't get it in writing or anything, or, well, who did you speak to? Or it's like, how about fuck you? That's who I spoke to. Okay. Are you serious? Do you really think I'm going to purposely, voluntarily destroy my credit from 750 down to whatever because I want to? No, I did it because that's what you
Right.
told me to do. So there was something wrong with the system. And then TARP and the bailout and all the printing and then all the money and it just like, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. And then money tightened up so much that it hurt my business. And I had to inject all of my retirement and my wife at the time into our company because we were going to run out of money from cash flow because there wasn't enough reserve there. So we injected all of that. And of course, half of that or over it went to taxes and penalties and interest. So my retirement was gone to keep my company alive because the banks were starving us to death for money. So it was a slow
I've
death.
always hated banks.
It's a slow death. It was just a slow death. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I'm like, what is going on? Why these people are being recapitalized and they're not learning anything? Nobody went to jail, not to my knowledge. And it's way worse now than it was back then. And it's just waiting for a spark to happen again, and nothing's going to be fixed. So there's something wrong. And like Gerald Celente says, and he always says, is that there's a club and we're not in it. And we're not.
Oh no, there is definitely a club. I've fought that club many, many times over my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really bought into our society as a whole. I can remember arguing with my high school government class teacher
Oh, good.
back in the Reagan days about the fact that trickle down economics is not going to work.
I mean, it was probably the best system at the time, or it may be in the history, but yeah, it's going to eventually fail too. I mean, capitalism, this is my opinion on this. So true capitalism will fail because the big monsters will get bigger, the rich will get bigger,
Yep.
and the smaller ones can't. I mean, let you and I,
Survive.
huh? Right. Well, let's you and I, after we're done with the show, try to compete against Amazon.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. I don't care how much they say, it's open, free enterprise market, open markets, free enterprise, whatever. I can start Amazon out of my bedroom, and you can help me do it, and we'll do it, and we'll compete. No, we can't. I don't care how they say how regulated they are, or this or that or whatever. You can't do it. So, and that's in a quote unquote regulated capitalistic system, which they say we're in, but we're truly not. It's more fascism, in my opinion, but I don't want to get into that. But capitalism, true capitalism is doomed to fail. But capitalism with regulations that are enforced from monopolies and antitrust things, yeah, then you have.
Whatever happened to that whole antitrust and monopoly thing? Because I don't see it anymore.
No, they get around it, or they make excuses, or they make subsidiaries of the same company, and it's like, well, it's really not that company. So they play the games. It's just there's too many lawyers and too many crooked people in this stuff to figure things out, to go around the system and find the loops. And if there isn't any loops, then they got the lobbyists and they create them. So you and I will never be an Amazon. I mean, I don't want to say never, but if you try to go against these people without the original idea, I think you're doomed.
I don't think I would ever want to be an Amazon.
No,
personally.
I don't. I don't either. But
Because if you're getting that rich, you're doing it off of somebody else's back.
well, yeah, that's unfortunately that's capitalism. But yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I do what I do as my quote unquote regular career, is to help those little guys at least be able to make a living.
Well, that's an interesting thing too, because I've seen both sides of it. Okay, and there's assumptions, and I think you said you've had businesses or have businesses You're a business owner too, besides this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you've seen both sides too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, most definitely.
I'll just start it with this. I think every single person, regardless if they're successful or not, should have some type of small business.
Oh, most definitely. The way I always put it is, even if you're only doing it on the side,
Yep.
you've got something to fall back on when you walk into work one day and, gee, you don't have a job anymore. I've had that happen a few times throughout my life.
No, me too. I don't, and people think that they're an employee, that they have job security, and that is such a big myth. Right.
There's no such thing.
No, and there's no such
Not unless you're in control.
Well, even then you're not really in control, because now you're at the mercy of your customers. So if you're a business owner, so it
Oh yeah, definitely.
there's no security. I mean, if you do one thing wrong or something, or whatever business you're in, but if you start getting bad reputations and word of mouth, that's the beginning of the end. And sometimes there's nothing you can really do about it, because, in my opinion, the customer's not always right, especially in my industry. But
oh, definitely.
But if you don't cower down to them, well, I've actually had people with power that were my customers that would sit me down and say, well, if you lost this account, that would really hurt your company, wouldn't it? I'm like, yeah. I mean, duh. So what they were saying was, and they were all mostly male. Actually, they all were. They were all guys. And the women I dealt with in business with power were wonderful to deal with. So women being in positions of power, I have no problem with them, because in my experience, I'll take them hands down over some asshole alpha male guy that wants to see who has the bigger penis, because that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And I couldn't believe that I had more than 2 people tell me that. And pretty much saying, if you don't kiss my ass, you're going to lose our business.
I've heard that quite often.
Well, yeah, see, and that's just a power thing, because it's like, well, if you won't do it, then I'll find somebody that will. And then they start dictating how they want things done, and you better do it this way and that way and everything else. It's like, wait a minute. I'm not your employee, okay? I provide a service, and this is how we provide this service. And if we can't come to some agreement, whether it's contractual or whatever, where it's win-win for both of us, then it's not going to work. But they always try to pull the leverage on you. And, well, if we give you more locations, then you're going to lower our price, right? It's like, well, I can't go to my employees and go, well, listen, guys, we got more work, so I got to pay you less money. I don't understand that thinking. I mean, when you buy shit in volume,
it's the bulk buy theory.
Yeah, but that's,
you buy in bulk at your grocery store, you get it for a cheaper price.
Exactly.
That's not how services work.
Exactly. But they don't get that, and they don't want to.
No.
I mean, my costs are fixed. No. Workman's comp, insurance, rent, all the shit. My truck, gasoline goes up and down, whatever. When I was running my own business, it's like, no, I gave you an attractive, priority customer, preferred customer status and service, in pricing and response. You already got your cheap price. Yeah, you already got it. There's nothing more I can do. And oh my God, he's the biggest asshole on the planet.
Oh, trust me, I've been called plenty of names over the years. Yeah. And I've fired clients. I have fired clients because it was just ridiculous.
Well, and you have to do that. And my accountant told me this, that I've known since junior high school. He's like, at the end of the year, you got to go through your customer base and get rid of your bad customers. And people, you tell that to people, and I go, well, you're crazy. You can't. Why would you get rid of customers? Well, there is such thing as bad customers, as far as there's bad businesses to deal with, and you have to weed those people out and just say, you know what, we can't take care of you anymore. Whatever, it's not working. Whatever, 30-day cancellation for each party in my contracts, and no penalties or no money owed or whatever, and you walk away. But you sometimes have to do that, and people don't get it.
Have you ever read Perry Marshall's 80/20 books?
No.
Oh, you should check them out.
Okay.
It's all about the 80%, 20% rule.
Well, that makes sense. Just those numbers make sense. So.
Yep. 80% of your customers are not going to do much. It's the 20% you need to actually focus on.
Right.
That are actually bringing you business and basically paying your bills.
Right. Interesting. Well, that's more
Yeah, you
books.
should definitely check it out.
Books for me to read. I kind of been laying off the business stuff and working on more self-improvement crap, but I'm getting more motivated. What?
The 80/20 rule works for your personal life as well.
Oh, does it?
It really does. Well, think about it. I mean, 80% of your interactions are going to result in nothing, whereas 20% of your interactions are going to be people that actually matter in your life.
So, another way to put it is 80% of my friends are assholes and the other 20% actually give a shit.
Well, that's one way to put it, yeah.
Huh. Very interesting. It doesn't surprise
That's
me.
why you keep your circle small.
Oh, believe me, it's really small. So, and it may get smaller. I don't know. We'll see. But this year is going to definitely have people's true colors come out, and it might.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it might have to force me to make that circle even smaller. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't think 2016 had anything on 2020.
Oh,
as far as
no.
that goes.
Absolutely not. Well, I don't see how it can, because if Trump gets reelected, excuse me, half the country's going to get pissed. And if he doesn't get reelected, half the country's going to get pissed. So it's a no-win situation.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Right.
Is regardless of who wins, our country is in trouble.
Yeah. And God forbid it resorts to violence, but that's already starting to happen anyway. And it's like, I don't know who the crazier people are, the ones that are going to be losing, depending on which side loses and what they're going to do. I really don't.
Yeah, I got to say, I always get a kick out of whenever I see people on the right wing, speaking out about, the right has all the guns. Yeah, I know quite a few liberals who have guns.
Right. Yeah. No.
I would if I was allowed to own one. So.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, they're just stating the facts, but the point is that not every Republican owns a gun and not every Democrat does not. So that's the point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That right there is my point.
Right. It's just everybody's labeled and to the extreme of what it is, and they just think that's in stone and that's the platform and those are the rules that you have to abide by, and it's nothing of the kind. I'm probably Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, if anything, with all that stuff mixed up. So
here lately, everybody's been telling me that if I had a label, it would probably be libertarian.
Yep.
I don't do labels,
right.
So I just am who I am. I've got a lot of conservative beliefs and I've got a lot of liberal beliefs. And the big part of where my liberal comes in is you're not going to tell me how I have to live my life.
Right.
I will choose how I want to.
Well,
and whether it's conservative or liberal leaning, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's my life.
Exactly. No, I don't want anybody telling me how to live either. So, I mean, that's not a free, that's not freedom. So
no.
That's being dictated and telling you what you can and cannot do and what's acceptable, which it's getting there.
Yeah.
It seems to be. So.
But they try to put everybody in little boxes, and we don't fit in boxes.
Well, they're trying to divide everybody so they can figure out who's who, so they can come after who they don't agree with, which they're going to find out it's going to be everybody. So if they keep it up.
Right.
But that's going to backfire on them, I think. But yeah,
keep the masses fighting amongst themselves, and they're not paying attention to what you're doing.
The only time my liberal beliefs or ideologies come out is when people are down on their luck, because I don't agree with, well, they're homeless by choice, or they don't have a job by choice, or whatever. It's like, really, You know, you're an asshole.
even.
Because I think everybody, unless of course you're an oligarch or by the grace of God you've been fine, but everybody falls on hard times once in their life, and to turn their back on them and say it's your fault and you shouldn't get unemployment or whatever, it is just cruel. It's mean.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is,
Yeah.
and that's something I cannot tolerate. You
No.
know, and that's one of those things that, you know, I've been there, and I've had a rough life. You know, I never fit in that box they tried to put me in, and like your show yesterday, you know, you're talking about the narcissism and sociopaths, and that's what I grew up with, and
poor thing.
I saw it at an early age, fortunately, but it didn't do anything for the damage it did.
No, that's even worse, because that's your normalized complacency. You don't know what's not normal. So.
Yeah. Yep, led to
Jesus.
abusive marriages and all kinds of nastiness.
Do you think you attracted those type of people, or you were attracted to them, or both, or how do you think that happened?
One of my psychological beliefs, I guess, is a way to put it, is that until we until we address or confront whatever abuse we've been through, we will continue to bring people like that into our lives until we stand up for ourselves. And we don't allow it in our lives anymore.
It's very interesting.
And it's hard to get there. But, you know, you do eventually. Eventually, once you go through, you know, it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Correct. Right.
So every time that you are re-entered into one of those situations that has a negative effect on your life, you try to deal with it in a different way, and eventually you find that way to beat it.
Yep. Well, I can relate to that because I was growing up I'm a adult child of an alcoholic family, and fuck, you don't know that. You don't know what's going on. You know something's not right, but you just might think that's normal. I mean, you're a kid, you know, and you're trusting your parents to raise you, and that's just the way the world is, and it is. But I knew something was wrong, and
oh yeah, definitely.
Then it turned me into me having my drug and drinking problems in my early 20s, and I figured out that ain't right. But I still attracted people. My ex-wife was the same. She was in a family like that, so it's kind of like birds of a feather, you know what I mean? So, and then you do that, and then she had some issues she never dealt with, and then we got divorced, and then it was weird. Some, not all, but some of the women that I were attracted to me, were just quite honestly batshit fucking crazy, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, so. And the common denominator is me. So instead of me looking at them and blaming them for it, which they have their problems, but that's on them, I didn't want to be a part of that. And I had to, some very, very soft-hearted, kind, beautiful women that I've dated, I had to let go because I knew that wasn't the world that I still wanted to be in. That makes sense? That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does, totally. I mean, over the years, back in my early 20s was my quote-unquote partying stage. And I was very destructive because of what I had been through.
Sure.
And both destructive to myself as well as the men that were in my life. I mean, there was a time period where it was like my mission to get hold of those men who were, you know, for lack of a better word, God's gift, you know, or thought they were, and take them down. I mean, it was my goal, and it was a power thing. You know, I never had any power as a child and as a young adult. and that's how I took my power.
Hmm.
And I look back on it now, and I've got a lot of men that I'm still friends with from back in those days, and I've straight up apologized to them because I recognize now who and what I was back then. And while it wasn't technically intentional because I didn't realize I was doing it at the time, but I still did it. And yeah, I've actually gone through, and the ones that I've reconnected with, I've apologized to them for my own behavior.
So you made amends with them.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's great. What the hell is that?
That would be my other phone.
Oh.
Somebody sent me a text message.
Well, that behavior, if people don't recognize it and change it and do something about it, they either turn into chemically dependent people, or if something really shoves them over the edge, in my belief, I think they turn into sociopaths. So you were not on a good road.
No, I was not. I definitely was not. And quite honestly, I ended up pregnant with my daughter, and at 22, I had her right like literally a week after I turned 23. And that was my kicker. That was my wake-up call.
Well, yesterday you listened to the show because you're my moderator or whatever. But did anything that I say yesterday resonate with anything with you, or did it make any sense?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, good, because you're talking, and sometimes you feel like you're talking out of your ass, and it's like, am I really explaining this and resonating with people to the level of they understand, especially the people that are in it, or they can't understand what's going around them, and to identify some type of red flags as to whether they really are dealing with a sociopath, a psychopath, or a narcissist, because narcissists are pretty self-evident. I mean, they're just alpha assholes. They're always right. You're wrong. Shut up. You're beneath me. People. I mean, they're pretty easy to identify. Psychopaths go a little...
Yeah, but they also convince you that that's your place.
No, I get all that. But what I'm saying is they're easy to identify by their behavior. So psychopaths are too, but they get a little bit violent and really fucking crazy shit out there, but you can still identify them. A sociopath is latent. It's stealth. It's hidden. And they'll come across that they're the nicest fucking people in the world. My family members and ex-ones still believe that. You know, and it's to get you to really recognize what, you know, when they take their mask off. Somebody said that to me, and it was really good. When the mask finally comes off, you're like, oh my God. But some people never see that.
Yeah. I've actually got a situation going on in my family right now that two of us have been ostracized, myself and my grandma. And my uncle had always been just super close to my grandma. And somehow my mother managed to, I have no idea what she said to him, but he has now cut her off. And that's something I never saw coming.
Wow.
Ever.
So something happened.
And he lives like within a couple of miles of my grandma. And they have not spoken in, I think, like 2 or 3 years now.
Whoa.
Yeah. Living a few miles apart.
Huh.
And she hasn't heard from him in 2 or 3 years now. But that is how intense a narcissistic sociopath can be.
Absolutely.
And what they do is they keep people separated.
Yes.
And they only have conversations with one-on-one, never a group.
Nope. No, that's true. I was never confronted, and when I did confront this guy, he would dismiss it, and him and ha 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 and whatever, and it was like talking to a kid that wouldn't talk back, which is impossible because all kids talk back. But I'm just saying they would just
You just sit there and listen to it, and you can tell by looking at them that they're already processing how they're going to come back at you, but they're not going to come back at you directly. They're going to, well, I'm going to go tell his wife now or his daughter or somebody close to him to say, see, I'm the victim now. This is what he said, and then blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how they do it, but they turn the closest ones to you, closest ones that are to you against you. And it's just fucking unbelievable. Like I said yesterday, it's fascinating that can even happen.
It is. It really is fascinating. I mean, it's kind of sick, but at the same time, it's like when you're standing on the outside looking in, you see everything.
Right.
And you start to see the actions that people take to create that separation.
Yep.
And quite honestly, it reminds me a lot of our government.
Well, yeah, and I made that equation too, because they're definitely a bunch of narcissists, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit that there's a lot of sociopaths in there too. Because
well, you have to be to think that you have the ability to make decisions for an entire country. There has to be some kind of level of that.
Well, not to mention you don't know what the truth is anymore because you lie so often. You think it's the truth. It's crazy.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but you have to admit, if you're just a normal outside looking person and looking at what Nancy Pelosi's saying, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep, I say that to pretty much everybody in power.
Right.
It's, what are you doing?
Right, because
what are you saying?
Yeah, their will is not being instilled or not having it their way, and they just go fucking crazy. It's like, really? So, I don't know, but sociopaths. I just tried to think of an analogy, and I thought of one. It's like you have a dog, and a dog is loyal to that owner, and nothing can break that bond. So you would think that would be with people that are close to you too, especially ones that you have wedding vows to, or your own children. But somehow, some way, a person gets to your dog and convinces your dog that you're not a good person or a good master. Now, I could never see that happening, but that's exactly what these people do. Is that fair enough to say?
Most definitely.
Yeah, because I'm going to turn your dog against you. Yeah, fuck you, you are. I mean, that's my best friend, and that's man's best friend. I trained that dog. I raised that dog. That dog is mine. We're bonded. No one's going to break that bond. Yep. And that's a fucking dog. Sorry. That's a dog.
Yeah. Yep.
And
when my daughter was 12, we finally put together that my mother was trying to come between us. And at that point, I sat down with both of my kids, and we had a long discussion about it. And we all promised each other right then and there that we would never allow her to do that again.
Yep. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Nobody would ever confront this guy into what he was doing. And then,
somebody has to confront.
Yeah, well, besides the victim, though, because then you're just labeled crazy.
Well, yeah, and that's, I guess for me, I don't care really what people think of me, ultimately.
Well, no, I don't.
Because it has no bearing on my life.
No, I don't either. But when you're in it, you don't get that.
Yeah, when you're in it.
Right.
Yeah, when you're in it, it's very tough to go through.
Exactly. Most people go insane. I've talked to people. There's the people that have experienced this and the people that haven't. The people that have not experienced it, when you start talking about it, they look at you like, oh, yeah, whatever. Okay, sure, whatever, Tim, blah, 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 blah. And then the conversation goes to something else. But when someone does and has gone through it, you just see their eyes light up and resonate, and they start shaking their head and yeah. And it's like, oh, my God, somebody else that's been through this, because you don't start talking to people. So you ever deal with a sociopath or a narcissist? I mean, it's not something you bring up in normal conversation, So it's sick. They're all a bunch of cowards. They all need to be fucking locked up, and hopefully they could be treated or rehabilitated or whatever. But it's impossible from what I know. So it's really sad.
Yeah, I think it's something in their base wiring.
Well, it's like, and I'm not saying they are, but according to what I know, pedophiles are the same way. It's just the way they're wired. You're never going to change them. You're never going to change them.
Well, yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. There's something not connected right. You know, whether it's from their own abuse that they went through,
Right.
or they were born with it. You know,
Or
there's
both.
something not connecting right.
Right. Right. And they can't be.
Because empathy is a human condition, you know, and when you lack it, there's something broken.
Yeah. And in both those cases, there isn't any empathy.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's really sad because.
It is.
But something triggers sociopaths. Pedophiles, I think could be hardwired, but it's definitely if anybody that can look at a kid and want to have sex with them is fucked up. And anybody that can look at a family structure, huh?
I said that just disgusts me. I couldn't.
Oh, it makes me want to puke. I can't even I can't even want to or try to put my head into their head to figure them out because it's incomprehensible to me. It's
exactly.
It's like, I get off sticking my penis in a meat grinder. Well, you know what? Good luck, but I'm not going to try to figure that shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing with sociopaths. They want to cause pain and destruction and division because that fuels them and they get off on that. It's sick.
Yeah.
And I don't want to understand that either. I might have some.
It's a power thing.
It's a power thing.
It's a control and power thing.
It is. And I have empathy and even mercy for somebody that if something happened in their life to push them into that psychosis or whatever term you want to use. I really honestly do have empathy for that person, but it's when you walk through that door, it shuts and it's bolted from the other side and you can't open it again. And that's a conscious decision that somebody made because now, from what I understand, I did some homework into it, but it gets too dark. Sociopaths want revenge and they want people to hurt and experience and felt what they felt because that was done to them and it's the entire world's fault. And when they start seeing people that are happy and successful in nice, normal families and all that stuff, they want to destroy that because they were destroyed. So if I was destroyed, you're going to be destroyed. You're not going to be happy. And then they get some type of fucking satisfaction or a smile on their face when they're able to destroy what they can't have. And that's about as fucking far as I want to get into that, is try to understand it. But that's as far as I'm going to go. But I really, truly think there is some type of validity to what I'm saying.
Oh, there definitely is. It's almost like a jealousy because somebody has a better nature, because somebody has that ability to connect with others and they have that empathy factor. And that's what I think it stems from is almost a jealousy that they literally cannot be that way.
Yeah, and I equated this too, and some people aren't going to like this, and I wouldn't agree with it either, but I thought about it pretty deeply. There's really not a huge difference, in my opinion, experience, both being a victim and one of these type of people that are chemically dependent, that their behavior when they're using that the same destruction and the same tactics to a point are happening to the people that are surrounded by or affected by the chemically dependent person as to a sociopath. But when the person sobers up and gets off of their drug, they come back because they never lost their heart. They never lost their empathy. Right. Whereas a sociopath doesn't have any excuse, but that's who they are, and that's their behavior, and that's what you get, and they never can be saved, for a better term, because they have no empathy or compassion or mercy for anybody. And that's just...
Yeah, they literally don't have the ability.
Right, and they don't want to because they don't want to be that person. Very fucking sad. But the people that they get in, it's kind of like the Vampire Club. You know, he bites you and you're a vampire and there's nothing wrong with it. He's so romantic. He's so good looking. You're like, well, whatever. Yeah. Well, a sociopath is so nice and so kind and you don't like him because of blah, 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 blah. And then they flip it to where when you're attacking them, then they're the victim. So then they feel sorry for him. It's really fucked up. It really is.
I agree.
Oh, my God.
I agree completely.
All right. So on some better terms here, we got a half an hour. I could talk about this shit all day. It's just that
Oh, you and me both.
here's why I bring this stuff up. Because I like to share because people need to know. Because they might be in something like this and this dysfunctionality and they just think that's the way it is. The normalized complacency that you both and I were talking about when we were being raised. And there is something you can do about it. And people's true colors and their masks are going to come off here in 2020. This is one of my predictions. Because people are going to be threatened or feel threatened from external things with all this political crap. I don't think the economy is going to go to hell yet, but some weird things are going to happen probably with our money and our monetary system and more printing of money and devaluing the currency and blah, 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 blah. Cryptocurrency, I think, is gonna probably get more popular and whatever. But the thing is that things are going to start happening to people that they don't understand. And then they're going to look to point fingers and blame, and they'll find them. And then their colors and true behavior are going to really come out, and they're going to get more frustrated and more angry because they can't figure it out and they keep blaming. And then the shit's really going to hit the fan, and it's going to be exponential, and then people are just going to fucking go apeshit. And the people that are around them are going to be affected by it, and they're not going to understand what's going on. So I'm really concerned about what's going to happen in the next coming year and right after the election, because if people don't have their shit straight and they can't handle not having things their way, there's a lot of people that are going to get hurt.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, you know, one of my favorite sayings is that people who are on that high empathy scale,
yep,
you know, those ones that are very loving, very caring, you know, they put others first, there is an equal and opposite passion. And all these meek and mild people that have been sitting in the background and trying to be nice, they're going to rise up, and it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
Because that equal and opposite is going to come out.
Right.
And our society is not ready for that.
Well, no, they're not. They're not, because it's obvious from the meltdown, which called, I don't like this term, but it is what it is, the economic injustice for the haves and the have-nots, and the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. So that pissed off a lot of people. It pissed me off. And then you throw the racism in there, which we're right square in the middle of that, and I don't think that's done. And I really don't think...
Oh, no, that's going to get worse.
Yeah, and I don't think...
That's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
And I don't think the income quality or status of that is done either. I think that rolled over into the racism part. Then we're going to go through the racism, and then it's finally going to run into the holy war religious argument. And that's going to be it. Yeah. And with all those things combined holistically, we're doomed as a society. It's going to destroy everything, including the family structure. And if that happens, we are doomed.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I know a lot of people hate the reference, but if you look at Rome, you know,
yeah,
you can see the same frickin' pattern.
Yep. We're repeating Rome's mistakes. That's true.
Yep.
And I really don't know what to do about it, because the people in power are the ones that are instigating it.
Yeah. Well, it always is the people in power instigating it.
Yeah, and it's because of the fear of losing their power. There's no other reason for it.
Yep.
They want to retain their power and their position, so they're going to manipulate the voters that have the true power to keep them in power by trying to scare the living shit out of everybody, and that's what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
that's
to
exactly what they're doing.
not to mention deflating the currency and everything else that they're doing, like the Romans did by shaving the coins into smaller sizes. I mean, they're all repeating the same things. We just think we're smarter with the internet and all the technology that we can make it happen. And all you're doing is prolonging it and making it worse.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's see. I don't know, some predictions. So you're not going to like this one. And it's only because of the dingbats that are running. But I really think Trump's going to get reelected. Only because there's nobody that can beat him. I don't know, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm on the fence on that one.
All right.
Because I know the DNC is going to screw the pooch again.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do.
They both do. They both do. They both fuck themselves. So,
Oh yeah.
Over time.
And the Republican Party as a whole has degraded. It's definitely not the party of financial responsibility anymore.
No.
There's so many factors this year. I don't even have a prediction on that.
Yeah.
I have my hopes, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting election. A lot of it's going to depend on who the DNC decides to put up, and God help us if it's Biden.
It won't. You don't want to make a prediction who it will be?
Do what?
You don't want to make a prediction as to who you think is going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party?
Oh, I have a feeling it's going to end up being Biden.
Do you?
But I'm hoping it won't be. That's going to be another Hillary. I mean, it really is.
It's meet the new boss, same as the old boss shit.
Yeah. And, I was not a Hillary supporter. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for that one, but I don't care. I've never been a Hillary supporter. Just because she doesn't have something swinging between her legs doesn't mean I'm going to vote for her.
Right.
I'd love to see a woman president.
So would I.
Not her.
No. So would I. I actually like the congresswoman from Hawaii. What's her name? I like her. Tibbert or Tubert or whatever her fucking name is.
Yeah.
I can look her up really quick.
In all honesty, I have not watched the debates.
I haven't either.
I think they're a bunch of BS anyway, because you have to have a certain money amount and, all the regulations they have in order to even be in debate. And we're missing out on people that have really good views. And all they're doing is biting at each other instead of actually talking about the actual issues. And I don't know. I think the DNC is going to screw it up again.
Yeah, her name's Tulsi Gabbard. I like her.
That's who I was thinking it was.
Yeah, that's who I really do. And people just lay into me, she's a socialist and she's this, she's that, she's like her. You know what? Whatever. I'm just going with my gut, and I'm actually paying attention to what she's saying. And to go against Pelosi.
There's a huge difference between a socialist and a democratic socialist, and that's what a lot of people don't seem to get.
Yep. Well, what's the difference? Just so, I want to know. So what's the difference?
Well, socialism is everything is controlled by the government, whereas in democratic socialism, you still have choice. So there's still votes. It's not the government saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's not, that's how communism was, is there was no choice in the matter for the people. Whereas with democratic socialism, there is. And there's going to be things that benefit society, but also benefit capitalism.
But what if, and I'm serious about this, but what if both choices, as you say, is a democratic socialism, whatever, okay, well, you're going to vote on eating an apple or you're going to eat an orange, but they're still supplied by the government. So what's the difference in that just compared to socialism?
Simply put,
yeah.
it's more human good put into the capitalism, if that makes sense. Capitalism based on human need versus money.
But do you really think in the history of the world that the government's going to have empathy and compassion for its people, especially when they're starving to death and they want to revolt against them?
Not in its current state. I mean, they're cutting every safety net out there.
Well, yeah, that's true. I know it's going to be interesting.
I'm one of those people. I'm of the view that our government has created a lot of the poverty, and it's up to the government to fix that.
Sure they have.
Or at least supplement it. Because if you cause the problem and then tell people, well, I put you down there on the ground, it's up to you to get out of the hole you're in.
Yeah, and that's bullshit. You just look at the American Native Indians and African Americans. It's the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're on a reservation and drunk because, we put you there, but it's your job to get out. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Let me lock you up, politicians, and you're in a jail cell with no key. It's your job to get out of there. That's just not the way you treat people.
Yeah, and that's essentially what democratic socialism aims to fix. Now, will it be perfect? No system of government is. But it would at least benefit society as a whole. It would pull some of these people that are in those holes that they can't get out of, not due to their own fault, a way to get out and to prosper.
Well, my problem is this, and I'll say something after this that might surprise you. But my problem is this. Once you take away the decision-making power from the people and put it to the government, that's a big problem.
Well, and I do see that side of it too. It's like I said, you'll find that I'm really all over the map when it comes to politics.
Yeah, well, so am I.
And like I said, my main concern is society as a whole and society being healthy. And if your poverty level, lower middle class, whatever you want to call it, if those people aren't fighting to keep a roof over their head or food on the table every day, they're going to be putting more money back into the economy.
It's true.
So that's where I see the logic.
Well, I think the way this country can be better is, of course, equal rights for everybody, including gender differences in employment. I think women should be making the same amount of money as men in the same position. And why it isn't that way is just bullshit to me. I really, truly think entrepreneurialism and people seeing a need or provide a service or product and start their own business is good without getting all their wealth reduced or taken away by taxes, because and insurance companies and all this other crap that are just sucking off of you, and they pass laws like, well, you got to have this or you can't be in business. Yeah, and then you go try to get a claim on it, and then you got to fight the goddamn lawyers for them to pay anything. So the whole system is turned upside down, and it's wrong, because when you're a business owner and you finally get to a point, then you can, because I've gone without even taking a paycheck for myself, because you got rent, you got insurance, you got payroll, you got all these bills that have to be paid, including payroll taxes. You don't pay your payroll taxes, they find you in penalties and interest, because you can't, that's like going into someone's house and they don't have any food, and you go in there, well, wait a minute, you got a slice of bread, we got to take that too. And all your seeds to plant food in the future. It makes no sense at all. No. You're penalized for being successful, and then you're punished when you're having a tough time. It's all backwards, and we got to get rid of all that crap. Well, yeah, because once you start having problems like I did, it's like the Titanic bringing on water. Well, this is an unsinkable ship. Yeah, fuck you. No, yeah, right. And you know, if you have a business, you're always going to be successful in business, and you're on easy street. No, once you start
No.
taking in water, it just keeps coming in, and people pile it on, and they pile it on, and then the rats run off the ship, which they should, and they get out because they don't want to drown, and the captain goes down with the ship. So I'm not saying that's the business model and everybody's alpha and omega when they're in a business, but I'm telling you something. It took 20 years for me to do it, and that's what really did the meltdown, which was out of my control, and everything just went downhill from there. And I did everything I could to save my company because it was my company. Your company's like a kid. You don't abandon your kid unless you don't have a choice, and that's what happened. But all that stuff has got. If you're a business owner, you're discriminated against, and I don't want to bring up it's a racist thing, but hell, everybody else is, you know. So yeah, when you're a business owner, you're a victim of racism, I guess. Everybody else fucking says it, but it's not true. But you are discriminated against, no doubt about
Oh
it.
yeah, definitely.
By the government, by people that look at you, by your competition. You're the guy that's on the king of the hill or top of the hill now, and they're going to try to knock you off.
Yep.
And that's got to change.
Yeah, it does.
That would help
No,
things tremendously. And the ridiculous taxes that you got to pay and collect, for that matter, for under payroll laws and payroll liabilities.
Oh yeah. Once my kids were adults and I didn't get the earned income credit anymore, because I've been professionally an online operations manager for over 20 years. Once they became adults and I didn't get that earned income credit anymore, oh man, did I get hit by self-employment taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right.
It was like $2,500.
Yep. Yeah, it's all backwards and ridiculous. Because most business owners start with nothing. You don't have a pot to piss in, so they know that. And then when you get to the point where, well, you're making too much money, so you're not going to get Social Security because you're above the threshold, or all the, which is good because they don't take it out of your check. But it's like, okay, so I'm making whatever rich is in your definition by the government, that now I can't keep contributing to my Social Security, so therefore, I'm not going to get that because I make too much money. It's retarded.
Yeah.
It's all backwards. What about those assholes sitting in Congress that they get retirement for the rest of their life?
Oh, don't even get me started on
What's your net
Congress
worth?
and their pay
Yeah.
and their benefits.
What's your net worth?
Number one, they need term limits. Number two,
Yes.
they need to be on minimum wage. Number three, they need to have normal insurance. And they are public frickin' servants.
Thank you. I was just going to say that.
Why are they
Elected.
making that frickin' much?
They're not.
And why are they getting all these benefits
They
for
shouldn't.
life?
They shouldn't be. Because they're royalty. It's Rome all over again, like you said.
Yeah.
They have power over us, and it's flipped. We have the power as the people. You work for us. We voted you in. We're your boss. But it's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
I
Honestly, I wish we could have a national vote, not by Congress, and the people vote on what they should get paid and what benefits they get. And, they should be participating in Social Security and all of that. But that's something that'll never happen.
Well, they got to be paid by performance, not just by salary. And all of them should get paid jack shit because all of her performance sucks.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how it is in the private sector. You get paid by your abilities and talents and performance. And lack of performance, you get fired or you get a pay cut. And in my opinion,
Right.
they're all horrible. So, but they all take bonuses and more time off and buy more shit and pass laws that don't apply to them and get free health insurance and better than we can ever get. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's got to stop. All right, so here's my thing. We got 8 minutes, because we're going to get kicked off at 10, right? 10 our time.
We don't get kicked off. There's nobody doing a show until later today, so if we go over, it's not a big deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I coming through on the show?
Yeah.
Spreaker hit broadcasting error.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
that's like the first time we've had a problem with Spreaker.
That's what it says. I've never seen it either. Broadcasting error _429.
Oh, it sure did. It cut off at 1 hour and 19. Oops. I was talking. I wasn't paying attention to technical things.
Well, I wasn't either. So we're just talking to ourselves then.
Oh, no, because the video's still going.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, that's good. That's why I love podcasts, too, because I always, in the background, used my studio recording software, and then I always had that on my hard drive regardless, and then I could throw it on the podcast. Because having your eggs in one basket and something just like Spreaker, and no offense to them or whatever, it goes down for whatever reason, you're done. So...
Well, yeah, and that's part of the reason why we are trying to move to the dual system of both the audio and the video, so that way if anything happens with either system, we're still going.
Yeah, have some type of redundancy. That's good. So,
yeah.
Well, here's my thing with the Democratic nominee. I at first thought it was going to be Biden, but I knew his mouth was going to get him in trouble potentially, because it always does. And it is.
Oh,
it's getting him in trouble. And I thought long and hard, and I did watch some of the stumping, and I think I watched maybe the first or second debate from the Democrats. And then, of course, when Fox News pops up, because I got the alert thing on Facebook, Bernie Sanders is at a town meeting and blah, 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 and all of them, pops up. And I go into them and I watch him. And here's what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be Bernie Sanders, and here's why. Because all these millennials with their attitudes and everything else, and unfortunately, they're going to be holding the bag for the bailouts and everything else, for all the financial destruction that happened. They're going to pay the bill, okay? And they're going to find out that their future's been robbed. And this is very similar, emulating what Max Kaiser said last night on the Kaiser Report, because it's true. But he eloquently puts it into terms that people can understand or kind of know what they're talking about, and I'd like to think I'm one of them. And that's what he did. These kids were robbed. That generation was robbed of their potential wealth, because all the wealth was transferred from us and in the future by people working by wages and getting a raise and everything else. Well, that ain't going to happen anymore. They can't do that because the system's too unstable. So all the money was transferred to the oligarchs and the people that own the money. So when they finally realize what's going on, or somebody like Bernie Sanders starts pointing it out and starts saying it the way that he says it, and if I was a millennial, I'd vote for him because he makes sense. Everything that he says makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And I'll be the first to say that if the DNC had done things right in 2016, and he was a candidate, he was our candidate.
Yep.
He would have had my vote. And that's where the Democratic Party lost so many votes, is people either went to Trump or they went to independents. Because they absolutely would not vote for Hillary.
Right. Well, I still think that was a wise choice. So I'm with you on that one. So I know people that have dealt with her, and she's not a nice lady. Let's just put it that way. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I really think that he's going to get the nominee. I don't think he's going to beat Trump. But they did say last night, and I agree with this, this all depends on how Trump does with the economy, because it's really kind of hard to argue that. So his main mission is to make sure the economy stays the same or improves. But if that does not happen, he may lose the election. And I kind of agree with that.
Well, and, as far as his big thing is the jobs and stuff. But the thing is most of those people, even though the jobs are being filled, the pay, they're still underemployed.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a difference there.
Right.
Great, the job numbers are up, but what about their actual sustainability?
Right.
People are still having to work 2-3 jobs in order to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, put food on the table,
Right. And he's trying
So-
to improve the strength of the dollar, which will help purchasing power, but it's not with the money they're printing and the games they're playing, that's not going to be sustainable. I don't think it's going to last till November. I really don't.
No,
But I don't know.
no. The things that have been accomplished, number one, were temporary. Number two, benefited the rich.
Yep. And that's the problem, and that's going to backfire on him.
Yep. That's where it's going to bite him, in my opinion.
But I really do think he's going to get the nominee, and it'll be very interesting. And actually, Glenn Beck predicted it too when I was watching him 8-9 months ago. Just based on trends and who we vote in, because they're usually quite the polar opposite of who we have. And Bernie Sanders is exactly the opposite of Trump. So it made a lot of sense because the pendulum swings from one end to the other. And if it's going to swing to the other end with the millennials and the younger people, which I think it's going to, I definitely
I think our younger people are going to be coming out to vote in droves.
Yeah.
Like we've never seen before.
Yep. And it's going to be out with the old boss and in with the new, except it will be a new, but it's going to be totally quite opposite of what we're dealing with now. And I think Bernie Sanders is going to get the nominee. I really do. That's what I feel. That's what I see. And if I'm a millennial, that's what I hear.
I hope so. Yeah. I honestly hope so.
Well, it's going to wake a lot of people up, and it could be a good thing. But I just want to know how everybody's going to pay for everything. That's my concern. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I got an open mind, but yeah, I think Bernie Sanders.
I don't mind paying taxes as long as my interests are accounted for.
Yeah,
I know.
Exactly.
And, I'd much rather put our tax money into giving us a healthier society in general,
right,
than having it go to wars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Which costs us $1 gazillion anyway. That's why we're in the problem we're in. So,
exactly.
Financially, at least. So, all right, well, it's 10 o'clock. One thing I am going to do in the future, and I've never had this with Spreaker, is I'm going to keep this window up if I lose my connection, because it's really weird.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that today and see if I can figure out what happened. I noticed it kind of blinking in and out at the beginning of the show, but then we got into good conversation and I quit paying attention.
Yeah, you can't. You can't multitask that good. I get it. I mean,
hey, it was good conversation, man.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully people can hear it. If they can hear it on the video, that'll be awesome. So.
Oh yeah, the video's there.
All right, cool. Well, I'll check it out, and thanks for calling in, and Happy New Year, and I will see you in the morning.
New Year.
Right?
Okie dokies.
All right, thanks. Thanks.
You have a good rest of the day.
You too. Thanks, Melissa. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so I don't know. I think I'm being still recorded. I lost Spreaker.com. I don't know why. It's very, very reliable. It's not on my end because I'm still streaming. So anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. That was a 2-hour show. I love when people call in. I will try to have that happen more. I will try to interview people. And I look forward to, believe it or not, with everything I said, it's a fascinating time to be alive and watch this stuff. I've seen a lot of things, but I think 2020 is going to be one of the most amazing years yet in my lifetime, and probably more to come. But 2020 is definitely going to be one to remember, and we'll see. But I'm in for the game in the long haul and trying to find out what's going on and the truth, and I hope you are too, and it's the whole reason why I do this show. So thanks for listening. Share the show, and I'll see you tomorrow. You have been listening to the original Red Pill Show.